Hey guys, hope you're doing well. This is the voice behind biologists, and today I'll be sharing with you guys the history of malaria. This is the fourth lecture of biology series. The previous lectures are in the link in the description below. Malaria has killed more people than any other disease in the world. The account of malaria is an example of a biological problem and how such problems are solved. Malaria is one of the world's most deadly diseases. Malaria exists in 103 countries worldwide, affecting 3.3 billion people, but about 90% of malaria-related deaths occur in sub-Saharan Africa. The oldest known specimen of malaria is about 30 million years old. Mosquito-carrying malarial parasite Plasmodium was found in a block of amber by a group of scientists. Malaria has killed more people than any other cause in the history. This includes war and famine. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium parasites. The parasites are spread to people through the bites of infected female Anopheles mosquito called malaria vectors. There are 5 parasite species that cause malaria in humans, and 2 of these species, Plasmodium falciparum and Plasmodium vivax, pose the greatest threat. History of malaria. In the ancient times, physicians were familiar with malaria. They described it as a disease of chills and fever with recurring attacks. They also observed that the disease was more common among people living in the low marshy areas. It was believed at that time that the stagnant water of the marshes poisoned the air, and as a result of breathing in this bad air, people got malaria. This belief led to the name of this disease. The Italian words mala means bad and aria means air. For further clarification of this observation, some volunteers drank the stagnant water from the marshes. They did not develop malaria. In the 17th century, when the New World was discovered, many plants from America were sent to Europe to be used as medicine for the treatment of malaria. The bark of a tree known as quina quina was very suitable for curing fevers. It was so beneficial that soon it was impossible to carry enough bark to Europe. Some dishonest merchants began to substitute the bark with another tree, cinchona, which closely resembled quina quina. This dishonesty proved much valuable for the mankind. Cinchona bark was found to be excellent for treating malaria. We know the reason now. Cinchona bark contains quinine that is effective for treating malaria. At that time, physicians treated malaria with cinchona without understanding the cause of malaria. 200 years later, it was found that some diseases are caused by living organisms. After this discovery, it also became a belief that malaria too might be caused by some microorganisms. In 1878, a French army physician, Laverin, began to search for the cause of malaria. He took a small amount of blood from the patient and examined it under the microscope. He discovered living creatures. His discovery was not believed by other scientists. 2 years later, another physician saw the same creatures in the blood of malarial patients. 3 years after the second discovery, the same creature were observed third time. The organism was given a name, Plasmodium. So, a hypothesis was made that Plasmodium causes malaria, and it is present in the blood of malarial patients. The next step was to test this hypothesis with experiments. The results of experiments showed that all the malarial patients had Plasmodium in their blood, which proved the hypothesis true. Another thing that bothered scientists of that time was how Plasmodium gets into the blood of man. In 1883, a physician, A.F.A. King, suggested a hypothesis. Mosquitoes transmit Plasmodium and are involved in the spread of malaria. In 1880s, Ronald Roche conducted an experiment. Healthy mosquitoes were allowed to bite infected sparrows. He found that mosquitoes got infected and Plasmodium were first multiplying in the stomach, later moved to the salivary glands of mosquitoes. He kept the mosquito alive and allowed them to bite healthy sparrows. The sparrow developed malaria. Later, more experiments were conducted and it was confirmed that mosquitoes transmit Plasmodium and spread malaria. Nobel Prize winners for contribution to the treatment of malaria. In 1902, Ronald was 90s of the malaria-causing parasite in mosquitoes and for understanding that the Anopheles mosquito was involved in causing malaria. In 1907, Alphonse Lebrun published his first great work on the malaria parasite in 1884 and earned the Nobel Prize for his findings that the parasite was present in human blood. In 1948, Paul Muller discovered DDT and its use in the control of diseases such as malaria. Today, DDT is banned because of its environmental effects. In 2015, UU2 managed to extract a substance, artemisinin, which inhibits the malaria parasite. Drugs based on artemisinin have led to the survival and improved health of millions of people. For more interesting videos, subscribe to Biologist.